What's up, people? pizowell here, and today I want to talk to you about 1988's Don't Panic. Now, this is partially going to be a review of the movie as well as a review of this Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray release. Michael is enjoying his 17th birthday. That is until his friends introduce an Ouija board into the mix. They decide to contact a spirit named Virgil. No, not that Virgil. An evil, or more evil Virgil that possesses Michael's pal Nick. And that's when things get strange. Don't Panic is, how to sum this movie up. Have you ever had to take pain medication for whatever reason? It causes you to have really weird dreams. Well, Don't Panic is kind of like a codeine-induced dream. First, we have the main character, Michael. He has a pullet, a permed mullet. But that's not the weirdest thing about this character. Michael is 17, and 17 by way of an actor who's at least in his early to mid-20s, but he acts like he's 7 years old, prone to temper tantrums and childish behavior that his overbearing mother happily promotes because their relationship is odd, to say the least. Michael is going through some stuff right now. He's falling in love, all of his friends are dying at the hands of his possessed best friend, and he sees everything through a series of wacky visions. But the strangest thing about Michael is his choice of sleep attire. He wears colorful PJs with pictures of dinosaurs on them. He's 17, but even if he looked 17, this would still be a little out of place. But you're watching a 20-something-year-old guy with a pullet running around for a good chunk of this movie dressed in colorful PJs with dinosaurs on them. As far as slasher movie protagonists go, Michael is in a category all his own. As far as the movie itself is concerned, Don't Panic is kind of like A Nightmare on Elm Street meets The Exorcist on acid. Don't Panic is a Mexican production shot on location in Mexico with a predominantly Latino cast. However, all the dialogue is dubbed by what sounds like American voice actors. We also get an absolutely ridiculous and hilarious romantic angle between Michael and the new girl in school. Their relationship quickly turns physical, leading to an overly dramatic slow-mo love scene, which is awkward to begin with, but made quite a bit more awkward considering that afterward we get a shot of Michael lying in bed, thoroughly pleased with himself, wearing his dinosaur PJs. But more about Michael in a moment. And yes, there's plenty more. Don't Panic is a slasher flick, and as a slasher flick, it borrows quite liberally from A Nightmare on Elm Street. We get plenty of Elm Street-style visuals in the film, including a cool one which takes place in the classroom while Michael watches one of his classmates spurt blood from various parts of her body while the rest of the class looks on completely unaware. The fully possessed best friend's makeup design looks pretty Freddy-ish, and of course the character is prone to the pithy one-liners either prior to or directly following a kill. The finale of Don't Panic actually takes place in an industrial location, not quite the boiler room, but the next best thing that the budget would allow. And as if you needed another callback to A Nightmare on Elm Street, Michael's mother is actually an alcoholic. But Don't Panic is really the Michael show, and it is a strange, strange saga. Keep in mind Michael is supposed to be 17, but is being played by an actor in at least his early to mid-20s. He wears the aforementioned PJs, even during a harrowing scene in which he races to the hospital to try and save a friend whose death he's witnessed in a vision. Oh, and during Michael's visions, his eyes turn red and the visions cause him to writhe around on his bedroom floor almost as if he's having a temper tantrum. And speaking of temper tantrums, Michael throws an actual temper tantrum at one point that finds him jumping up and down on his bed, smashing his toys, and tearing down the posters from his bedroom walls. The posters, just about all the posters that fetishize flashy cars, are actually hung askew, as if to make Michael look really cool by virtue of the fact that he hung all of his posters at an angle. John Michael Bischoff portrays Michael, and his performance is one for the ages. He takes teenage angst to an all-new level. He's the cool kid, but he's so emo and overwrought and seemingly trapped in a state of arrested development. As zany as Don't Panic is, the movie does overstay its welcome, and the third act is kind of a drag, although the movie does go out on a totally WTF moment in an equally off-the-wall closing credits song called Don't Panic, which is actually performed by the guy who plays Michael. Now, if only there was footage of him in the studio laying down the lyrics to this song, wearing his colorful dinosaur PJs, my mind would break. And as for the song, Don't Panic, just listen for yourself. Don't Panic is a movie that I just can't quite wrap my head around. It is quite amusing and entertaining, but in a way that's impossible to process all at once. There's so much insanity going on here between Michael's PJs, his childish behavior, his visions, his relationship with his mother, along with the myriad of other ridiculous moments that make up this ridiculous movie that's so ridiculous that I can only compare it to a medication-induced dream. The kind of dream you wake up from and laugh to yourself because you're relieved to discover that it was only a dream, and you find it kind of amusing just how messed up you are to have even had such a dream manifest in your own subconscious. I highly recommend it. As for this release from Vinegar Syndrome, this release is newly scanned and restored in 4K from its 35mm original negative. I thought the picture quality and sound quality were both absolutely fantastic. The picture quality, I'd give a solid 4.5 out of 5 to. The image is crisp, it's clean, it's highly detailed. It looks phenomenal. Same thing with the audio quality. I'd give it a solid 4.5 out of 5. Don't Panic looks fantastic on this release from Vinegar Syndrome. As far as extras are concerned, we get Possessed by Horror, an interview with director Ruben Galindo Jr. It's 24 minutes and 52 seconds in length. Mr. Galindo Jr. discusses his love of horror movies, his father, who was also a filmmaker, helping him get his foot in the door, and his first film, Cemetery of Terror, made. He discusses the inception of Don't Panic and his love of horror with a touch of fantasy. He discusses working with Screaming Mad George, shooting scenes in both English and Spanish, the low budget and tight schedule he had to work with. And he discusses the film's premiere in Mexico, how it found an audience on VHS, and how happy he is to see the film newly released on Blu-ray, and more. We get the alternative Spanish titles and credits. We get a commentary track with Ruben Galindo Jr., and we get a commentary track with The Hysteria Continues. Overall, this is a fantastic release for Don't Panic from the fine folks over at Vinegar Syndrome. The picture quality and the sound quality are absolutely fantastic. We get a really nice interview with the director and 2 audio commentaries. If you're a fan of Don't Panic, this release is a no-brainer. I'll post a link to Vinegar Syndrome's website in the description. Go over and check them out. If you've seen Don't Panic, please let me know your thoughts on the film down in the comments section below. If you've already picked up this release from Vinegar Syndrome, please let me know your thoughts on it down in the comments section below also. If you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up and share it on social media. If you're not following me on social media, those links are in the description. As always, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care, and until next time, peace. Oh, and a huge shout out to all my patrons and channel members. I appreciate your generosity and support of my channel. Become a patron today and join me for exclusive live streams, get early access to videos, and have a say in what movies I review on my channel. Become a channel member and get access to exclusive badges and emotes to use when I stream. Links are in the description. Say hello to the internet, Jeremy.
Hello to the internet.